team ban. OG's turn to pick. Radiant team pick. Lena.
That is some illegal gameplay right there. That is some illegal gameplay right there.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick. OG's.
Facts. Ancient apparition.
Good afternoon and welcome back. It is the Western European qualifiers for TI-10. I'm joined by T-Gob. We will be joined by PPD in a little bit as he has some technical work through, but we don't want to delay the game for that. We're gonna just jump right into it because we got OG, we got Viking, T-Gov. I wanna introduce this match properly because there's a lot at stake here, and I want to start by talking about Viking, the team that has grinded and grinded some more to get to the level that they are at now. We've seen them grow, and then we've seen them plateau a little bit. You think that's fair to say?
Yeah, that's pretty fair. Like, as a team, they rose up when they had, was it Toby in the offlane? Then of course they brought in Kezu, and that new lease of life from Kezu was, an outstanding kind of development for the team. Since then, they have kind of gone back into their, Viking ways of being able to lose to some tier 2, tier 3 teams, then also, dominate against these tier 1. So I feel for this TI qualifier,
Radiant team
this is like the underdog team. Like they could easily win this qualifier, or they could be out in 2 series. I don't know.
It's up in the air, and I think you can say the same thing for every team here, because we just saw Team Nigma struggling a little bit against the Hellbear Smashers. We've seen OG, they have got a new player in Samil, and in the ESL 1 summer, it didn't really work out too well. And I'm mentioning all of those because both OG and Nigma, together with Team Liquid, who by the way also bummed out, is they all kind of bummed, and we don't know what they're gonna bring here to this qualifier, making it so spicy. We're in the draft already, actually. OG will be on the dire side for this one. We got Lena Magnus opening and an Axe Ancient Apparition opening. I think for both teams, that's so stable. That's good, right?
Yeah.
For both teams, should be happy.
I'm looking at Magnus, right? I'm looking at just OG. They're qualifying for TI. They want to get there, of course, defend their crown. They go for the Magnus. Simple as that. I think the main thing here is the research from Viking. The Bans, the Pangolin, and the Hoodwink. These are both heroes that Topton and Satsuka have been spamming in their pubs in their respective roles of 2 and 4. So to take away the flexibility that often has carried OG from some of these drafts, and then just force them into a more kind of open draft, which is exactly what this Magnus is, but still very scary in the hands of OG for sure.
Yeah, I like this. I feel like we're seeing already strong laning setup. I think that if we're looking at all the qualifiers, the Southeast Asia qualifier probably has made the biggest impression on the meta as a whole, purely because the games went on for that long on most of their series. And I wonder what kind of impact we're going to see that qualifier have here in these qualifiers, because, for example, we saw a lot of Leshrac. Answered by also a lot of PLs as well, but also pucks because of that, and we don't see any of that at the moment, even though both of these teams, they can play it.
Europe's all about the off lanes, right? Like, you think about the even during DPC, Lions getting first place, it was built around S4 and what he brought, and then kind of extrapolate that a little bit further with maybe Viking. Their openings are often like the Timbersaw, the Broods, Axe here as well. I think Europe is just hard stuck on always wanting, not always, but at least leaning more towards the off lane as being the key role to open up their draft with.
We got some carries banned out on the side of Viking, the Medusa, the Terrorblade removed, and for OG we got the TA, the Marana, and the Storm banned out, and an instant Invoker pickup. Also a little bit of a denied pick, of course, on the side of OG.
Yeah, exactly. It is, just a denied pick here. I think when they put all emphasis on banning out Sumo, they need to kind of give themselves something to enter the second phase with. The casual Invoker, there's not really a lot of heroes that
10 seconds
instantly
remaining.
counter an Invoker. It's not as if like it's the old Brood days where you put mid, Brood's out off lane,
5
so you
seconds
can
remaining.
with confidence pick it. It's why we saw in the previous series, it was always first phase banned out. It was picking an Invoker, it's like picking a Rubik, right? It's like, they got the hero. You can't really pick anything to deal with that specifically.
And do you feel like we saw in the bans of OG them already kind of setting up for an Invoker for themselves? Because they did ban out the Storm and the TA.
Radiant
Decent
team
counter. So
pick.
what is left in the pool to go up against an Invoker?
Any generic mid hero, I think, honestly, like Storms are actually banned by OG, but like any hero bit of catch, right? Just punish the hard lockdown that is currently present on the Vikings lineup. You're currently all about the cool, right? Axe jumps in, everything's layered in,
10
Sunstrike,
seconds
A, and Blast.
remaining.
And that's why OG go for this Oracle, have that level of, or that layer of
5
saving their lineup,
seconds
because
remaining.
Magnus lineups, you prop that one hero up front. You know, you're pushing him into the engagement. That's why Viking is so happily kind of drafting to execute that one hero. Oracle, of course, kind of mitigates that. So both kind of teams throwing punches right now within the draft, trying to one-up their kind of game plan.
Well, let's see what Viking is going to go for here. They need something to define a draft a little bit more, and I'm thinking about maybe
turn
position 4. And I know this is one of the few teams I was going to say. Different position 4. You were okay. I thought this is the one team that plays Spearbreaker sometimes together with Thunder of Portal Snaking, but. There's your Leshrac as well, Oracle Leshrac. Oh, that is pain in a nutshell.
Yeah, that is the Sumail playing on Liquid effect, where he then comes to OG after. Of course, he was forced, you know, against his will, to play this Leshrac many
10
games in a row.
seconds remaining.
But yeah, it's very potent, and I think most likely this will just be
5
the safe
seconds
lane.
remaining.
You'd assume, like, let Sumail play it, and it just opens up Thompson to play a more maybe diverse mid lane. But they're not getting that classic empowered core, but we haven't really seen that be a prominent thing with Magnus nowadays. It's not like you have to go for the melee player core to go with it. Like Viking ban out Medusa, for example. But it'd be nice to see if maybe they have something to play around the RP and the Skier a bit more than just the Leshrac and the Lina.
Yeah, just the Leshrac and the Lina is it's maybe a little bit more squishy. They can fix that obviously with their last pick for
Radiant
sure.
team
What would fit
back.
in well for Viking? What type of carry are they looking for? And is there potentially a axe carry like possible?
Oh, let's check the pub. He has, again, he's only played like 11 pubs so far in the last 8 days. No
That we
axe,
know
though,
of.
but
10
that we know
seconds
of,
remaining.
exactly. You know, those
You know-
Smurfs, they exist.
And you know, one of the
5
things that when we see all
seconds
these teams, like we have the Western European qualifiers and the Chinese qualifiers, the only 2 qualifiers that are still left. We didn't really get a lot of time to talk about the teams as a whole, but I know all these teams, they've had trouble finding the scrims that they wanted because they don't want to scrim each other, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of practice, pubs is normally all you kind of got to go on, apart from a couple of scrims here and there, because you can't really scrim Eastern European teams. They are already done. And all the teams that were
turn to
staying in
ban.
Ukraine longer, they're already gone as well. So I'm so curious to see what the teams have come up with for these qualifiers, and also curious to see what these final picks were going to be. We're going to see some bans on the cores still. We have the Juggernaut removed on the side of Vikings, so that might be that they are still expecting
10
Thompson to play
seconds
Leshrac,
remaining.
perhaps. Or yeah, you can play something else. You can
5
play Luna,
seconds
maybe.
remaining.
Play Luna.
Kind of.
Would he play Luna against?
He actually
Invoker?
could. He could. Yeah, it could actually be all right there. I think
Radiant team back.
if we look over at Viking real quick, it's like their carry right now is, I'm thinking like Spectre or Anti-Mage style potentially. But with a Viper ban themselves on OG, maybe they. Interesting, they ban on Viper. Yeah, I feel like Spectre or Anti-Mage is really good for Viking. Yeah. And they have the first pick
10 seconds
coming into this
remaining.
phase from Viking, so they might be able to snatch it away if.
I mean, if you're gonna
5
have a
seconds
mag
remaining.
lineup and you ban out Viper, wouldn't the PA be the obvious choice? So shouldn't Viking ban out the PA? It's like the combo.
That's true,
mag
yeah.
PA.
The PA as well, that's true. That's true. Also, I muddled up my my pick order, but it's fine, it happens. We'll
Why?
see. Viking has the ban. Well, because I muddled up who was picking after the ban.
Ah,
I was just
okay,
being
okay.
a silly Billy, as
It's
you
all
do.
good.
Thank
What,
you, yeah.
what we do know is Viking is, or banning rather, their last hero.
Yes.
And I
Ooh.
think, just to be sure, you should ban the PA. I feel like that's an
OG's
Right? That's the play, though. You know, you
That's what
ban
they
the
want
Viper.
you to do.
Exactly.
Oh.
So instead, they give both up available.
Radiant
Spectre
team
or the PA. What's going to happen? They go for an Earthbeard. Whoa! Spin it round. They're just going for something completely different. I don't know why I got so animated over an Earthbeard.
I mean, that's an Earth Spirit probably for Thompson, surely. I know Saxa can do it, but it's the Thompson special. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just put it
Go
on
for
mid.
it.
10
To be
seconds.
This
clear,
is,
the
you
mid.
know, game 1 of your TI qualifiers. OG is a team that has
5
done this
seconds
before.
remaining.
They have gone through qualifiers before. Actually, they knocked out Saxa and Kezu from the qualifiers in TI8, which, by the way, at that point were on the same team. So, you know, there's some history there.
Bad blood.
Saxa and Celery, actually. But bad blood. I don't think so. But
No, there's not.
I mean, you gotta open with what you are strong with in series style. So in terms of Thompson, Earth Spirit, I'm all for it.
No, I like that. Like, when they go for the
Now select your heroes.
Ooh, sprinkle of the. Oh, but yeah, I think first of all, let's touch on OG's style of draft right now. It is going to be this mid Earth Spirit. They are going to be playing off the fact that he does immense amount of right click with the talent, the damage talent, you get the empower as well. He's going to be able to execute these heroes, and he gets tanky so quick. So that alone, OG is going to be up in your face. That's why they go for this kind of brood style, because of course brood in laning phase, he can overwhelm this tower, and OG now has to react a lot to this brood presence. Like, are they going to be killing him, defending towers? They can't just simply run across the map. If they do that, they're losing 2 towers. So I understand Viking's response with the brood. It's about defend through aggression, or at least kind of positional aggression. But yeah, like OG's lineup is pretty scary, and it is the carry axe that we haven't mentioned yet either.
Yeah, Shad will indeed be playing that axe. I can't wait to see this game play out. You want to make a quick prediction for this game 1?
Shiva, predicting Europe, so I don't. If I predict OG, you're an OG fanboy. If you predict,
Yes.
you know. Okay, no. Okay,
Are you an OG hater or an OG fanboy? That seems to be the
my
thing.
boy Kezu on
That's
his.
fair.
He had last pick. This is the game for him to, you know, do that Kezu magic. So I'm gonna go with a Kezu for why not Viking.
All right, well, let's find out what's going to happen in this first game of the best of 3. We're going to find out together with Odie Pixel and Fog.
Thank you very much, Shiva. Yes, game 1 of this OG versus Viking. Folks, we have a last pick brood here coming out on a scary brood player. Kezu getting it here for Viking. How scared of it are you here? Do you think if you're OG, or if you're OG, you say, hey, look at our heroes. We're going to run at them. We're going to bring the action. We're going to be able to squash the brood. What way is this one going to go in your mind?
I just want to see how teams, if there's going to be an over-adaptation from OG, or if they're just going to play their own style and just let Kezu have his own game and then just dominate the rest of the map, because it is a very, very aggressive lineup, like you're saying. Lash, we've got a lot of early aggro, not a lot of really like cooldown-based things. It's like really just the RP from OG, so this is exciting. And I think we have to say it, you know, this Earth Spirit, Thompson, he's been a huge fan of these Echo Saber mid laners lately. We'll probably see him inside of those pubs doing it, so I'm just excited to see these constant battles, because this looks like super fight-heavy lineup from OG.
No, absolutely. You know, I think from both sides as well, Viking, they're going to be pretty happy to meet the action, at least with maybe not quite as soon and as early. But if they're able to hit those timings, get those good 6s on the supports, they are going to have the ways to initiate, to break in, to counter what OG's going to try and throw at them. You know, heroes like Axe, Clockwork, they are going to be able to deal with collapsing on top of them and off the ability to turn things around, split them up, set up for the big combos that are going to come crashing in from the Invoker and the AA.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of information game. That's the thing that I'm looking at for Viking, is finding these backlines, finding these squishy heroes, bypassing the Magnus and the Earth Spirit, which they absolutely can do, right? You got Clockwork, you got Spiders, you got even an AA Blast coming over the top. You have a lot of different ways to scout. Even Boom, you know, Invoker, he can get into those backlines with his Ghost Walk, since he's very likely to go cross Wex. That's what you have to do now every single time as Invoker. So yeah, this could be a pretty interesting one.
Yeah, and I guess you've got to imagine with Thompson getting that Earth Spirit in as the last pick,
yeah,
this is going to be a mid matchup that he feels pretty confident in. Playing against the Invoker, should be able to have a fine old time in them at 1v1.
Yep. You can't put that much harassment onto the Invoker, unfortunately, but you're going to free farm as this Earth Spirit, and you have better rune control. So you're going to get that bottle. Invoker's not going to get bottle. It's going to be up to the Viking supports to really check out the runes in mid to help out Boom, so that Thompson doesn't get some like crazy strong power rune at that 6-minute mark.
They're going to have a bit of a chase on to the Clockwork here. See if they're going to have enough for this. They will have another Fortune's End in a few seconds from No-Tail. Get up to the high ground in time. No, No-Tail will be able to get the cast off. decent root duration. Samael is in range for the stun. Can't quite close the gap. Won't be able to close in on time. The root
If you win
at
this
this
game, I
level,
will
of
be
course,
very
not
proud.
lasting
If you win
quite
this
long
game, I
enough.
will be very proud.
Aramis will
Yeah,
make it
let's
back
go.
to base, and we'll start to see the lanes take form. Top lane against Kezu's Brood. It will be No-Tail on the Oracle supporting Mel's Shrek. Over in the mid, of course, Boom's Invoker against Topson's Spirit. And then down on the bottom half of the map, you'll have Saxa laning here with Seb as this Lina Magnus duo against, of course, the safe lane act from Shad. They'll have the back of the Celery in this lane. Who's going to struggle, Fogged? Who's going to have a rough time here on the first few waves?
I think it still just might be Shad bottom. Even though we've seen these axes do very well, this is a very strong lane up. It's Magnus Lina, two of the strongest off-lane heroes, the 3-4 combo. High burst, high physical damage, you have pretty much everything there. So I think that's probably the thing I'm looking at to suffer the most. I think Sumail should be pretty okay up top. The Clockwork has a pretty tough time. Aramis, I think, actually putting pressure onto Leshrac and Oracle as these two rift heroes. He's just going to have to cut and find his own game. Overall in the game, it's a pretty good Clockwork game, but in laning phase, it's going to be a slow start.
Gets those few levels, a big part of his movements are going to be matching that of Topson's once the laning stage starts coming to an end and Topson gets aggressive across the map. It's going to be very important where the clock is to try and punish Topson for the aggressive moves you know that he's going to want to make on his mid-earth Spirit.
There's a lot of fun moves you can make. Like versus Lina, just getting on Lina's always great, but just catching into Magnus a lot of times, you know, you throw yourself into Skewer so you can mess with the combo so many different. We'll have to watch Aramis who and when he can find them. I think Elastis right now, it's looking pretty solid, the setups for OG, as we're kind of saying, like these lanes look really...
Mid lane in particular, the 1v1 heads up. Topson 9 for 3 against the 4 for 0. It's going to be a slow start on the early levels as the Invoker in the matchup. Wants to win, he's got a few points in the combo. It's going to be enough to sort of keep Topson on his toes. Bottom lane, Skewer back onto Shad. Seb, he's going to have a shockwave in a second, but Shad quick enough to get himself away. And CS-wise down here again. Successful across the board. OG just having the favourable time on these first few waves. Seb also taking a good lead against Shad. Actually getting the setup here onto Celery with a shockwave. Kezu will actually end up getting burst blood up top as they don't have enough damage to kill Celery off bottom. So Kezu finding No-Tail slightly out of position. And of course, as expected, tips coming out already. We're going to see some pretty top-tier tipping game coming out from both sides in this series. Bottom lane,
again.
Another attempt. This time they'll be able to get the grab onto the bigger one. They get Shad. Seb with the shockwave super back. It's enough control and damage to bring the axe out of the bottom lane.
I gotta be honest, I'm pretty astonished that No-Tail died top. I thought their lanes were super like easy to not get killed in, and they just have a very good aggressive lineup for bottom. So I mean this is gonna be a really slow start for Viking. Like I don't know what Shad's even supposed to do. These double nukes to come out, you're also not that tanky. He went for Magic Stick level 1 rather than going for the Ring of Protection on the axe. So these right clicks, they add up quickly. Lena's gonna constantly be beating on you. They've got Bassy for the spam too on OG. This is not easy for Viking whatsoever. We're seeing mid also, it's not getting better either. Thompson having an excellent time. He's got the runes to work with. Boom. It's, I mean, very slowly recovering, but all three lanes go OG favored.
Yeah, even this top lane, regardless of the kill on No-Tail, Sumail just having complete lane control, heavy amount of denies. It's not going to be a quick and easy start for Kezu on the off-lane Brood. So only a bit of a hole in this early game that Viking will have to dig themselves out.
Yeah, and it's some of the times where your carry is annoyed when he's laning versus a hero like Broodmother, right? Because that annoying Silken Boulder is going to be frustrating you, this missed chance constantly. But it's a Leshrac. You're never going to be missing. You're never actually really having to deal with the problem of this Silken Boulder that can be frustrated as a carry. So I feel like this pick was like a gotcha. You know, this Leshrac Oracle carry lane. Now you're playing versus a Brood where a Brood and a Clockwork where they thrive versus playing versus melee carries, and now they're versus a ranged semi-carry kind of stuff. This is a really good approach by OG.
And to the point, when they picked the bridge, they did imagine the lanes as this was, like Kezu knew that he would be laning into a side lane now.
I think you should have known that they were going to switch it up. Like, when does Topson play Lina? You know, like, I was looking, I was like, no way Topson's playing this Lina. Like, this is a Soxa Seb lane for sure. They're going to pick something out of the ordinary for mid lane for Topson, and that's exactly what happened. Like, you have to expect that, too, that Viking knew that was going to be coming, but this is what they decided to go with. And, I mean, look at Shad. Like, he's getting, like, almost nothing down bottom.
It's such a tough lane. It really is. You said on paper, you're just Magnus, Lina, you're not going to have a lot of fun against it. Seb and Saxa very well versed in playing this duo as a combo.
So-
It's just, yeah, Shad's going to have to play the catch-up game. And
Exactly.
You've got to look at the other cores, a Brood and an Invoke, and you've got to ask yourself, are these other cores that are going to allow your safe
That
lane
is some
to
illegal-
have the time and
that
space to
is some
recover?
illegal
What
gameplay
can
right
they
there.
do on their own to make the time happen for Shad to get his first few items online?
They better have some crazy stacks. I see Aramis has gotten some on at the Ancients, but might not be enough of Shad. Does get the call inside. Both feet procs.
Saxa still got a fair fire that he's holding on to as well. They're able to set up here with it. Gone on to Celery, but they'll play it cool. Saxa.
It's coming.
Oh, off the mark.
He tried.
Saxa's going to be fine.
Good attempt. Aramis looking to set up for that 6-minute rune. Thompson, empty bottle.
Hey, might be able to set up onto Thompson himself.
Yep.
Coming in on the mid, Thompson rather low. He'll drop the Magnetize, try to look for the rollout, but the Patria Assault's there from Aramis. Thompson up to the high ground, pops the stick charges. He's not getting away though. Aramis having enough damage and control to bring down the Earth Spirit. A very important gank to be made there. Same time over in the jungle. Saxa gets and chases down Celery deep into his own half of the map. And Saxa will be able to get the kill and get out. That mid lane, a big catch there for Viking. They had to keep control of Thompson somehow, slow down his free farm that he has been getting up until now. 40 CS, of course, on that mid lane Spirit.
Huge. They get the earn charge 2 for Boom. He's got an arcane rune. Has to get his mana back, but he could look to make moves around the map. And I think they've got to start breaking lanes. I don't think you can just stick with the way that it's been. So we do see AA make the way top. Shad getting closer to Vanguard, sticking down bottom by himself. Probably going to make the move top to go for those stacks soon too. Kezu almost 6. Aramis waiting in the wings right here.
Samael stepping up a little bit, but Aramis, he's looking to get on top of Notel instead. Closes the gap straight away on the Oracle. Notel keep himself safe a little bit with the Fate's Edict. Aramis able to block him off enough for the cold feet to kick in. Aramis, he's going to continue to sort of bait him away. He's not going to be able to kill Notel or Samael. Maybe Kezu can. She's in onto the Oracle. Has got enough control and damage. Notel, a quick route
Still
actually
alive.
holds back Kezu long enough to allow Notel to separate himself from the two, and Notel will survive.
Wow, I can't believe Notel gets away with that one there. Kezu was so close to getting the 6. He was finishing off the field, but not quite there in time to get the backup to get that kill. Looking at lane still. OG about 2k gold lead coming out of this one here. With I think that's to be expected with the way that the setups have gone here. So I don't think Viking can be too fussed about it, because that's just the way it's going to be with these. The way that it's gone, and now Kezu's able to apply his pressure top. I'm gonna go for the pipe build as expected versus Leshrac. Earth Spirit Core.
Samael still feeling confident enough to come back into the lane. Yep.
Same build
onto
that,
this tower.
yeah, we're gonna see the same build that we've seen him do when he was on Liquid, when they pair it with the Oracle, that Eternal Shroud early on. Very
Dire's
effective.
top tower is under attack.
In the mid lane, we see just with the EMPs here from Boom, just leaving Thompson in a state that doesn't allow him to get maybe as active as he wants to, with this consistent harassment of the mana drain, the EMP.
Yeah. And he's gonna do the same build that we did mention that he loves. It's gotta be the Echo Saber, get that big damage talent at 10-2. It's actually really nice on Earth Spirit. Something that's been underlooked at for a long time here. Let's see if it does work out this game for them. His laning looks great, but Viking, they're going to start getting some momentum here with Kezu very soon. Both supports playing around him. That does mean that they're going to be a bit under level here. Celery level 4, and he's got good levels, but Aramis, he's not even level 4 on this clockwork yet.
His levels definitely quite important when you consider how much sort of the trio really needs to achieve now. Aramis, Celery, and Boom. These three have got to be looking for the setup for the kill. The Boom car's making his way up top. He's ready for the setup. Beautiful angle here with Tornado EMP down to the two of them. They take down Notel, Samana out of mana. Boom with a beautiful rotation up top, lines it up perfectly, and wipes OG out of the top lane.
Very nice early move. And they know that, I mean, with these early moves, it's actually going to close that gap after the laning phase completely here, because they're not killing Shad. He's sitting at his tower. He's got his Vanguard. So, yeah, these moves are working out here for Viking. 4-2 now. OG looking to strike back.
Looking for Shad. Shad.
Dire's top
Let's
tower
safe
is
underneath
under
the tower.
attack.
Will show himself. Thompson sees an opportunity to dive in and set up for this. Quick starting here with Shockwave into Light Strike Array. RP drop down as well. It's the carry. They'll throw everything down onto Shad. Shad, he's got nothing to offer in return. He'll get a few spins and a call off. He'll still end up going down here to the aggression of OG. Same time up top. Samael also receiving a similar bit of aggression from Viking. As they dive in, they take down the Leshrac, and they can continue to put the pressure on this tier 1 tower top. Once again, getting involved, enabling his side lanes, and just pulling together the resources to make sure that even with the fact that they didn't get quite as much as OG out of the laning stage, they've still got the tool to get these objectives taken down.
And I loved what he did there too. So we see that sentry ward on the side of OG. I placed up a ward near the tier 2. They actually got a D ward, but what that ward did is it scouted out the TP from the Oracle, knowing that there's going to be a follow-up TP on the front. So boom, he leaves mid, TP's top to make that move to set up so that they can go for this tower push. Because I think they also knew that Shad was getting ganked, but they just accepted it. They're like, whatever, Axe is going to die, let's make our own hit at the same time. And they did. So they get that successful push to top. And now they swing over to the mid lane to defend. While we do see OG, they're going to look to hit the bottom tower as well, so they can get that space. The Leshrac making a move down with a couple of good edicts, going to die in no time.
Radiant's bottom tower
Boom does not have a TP to defend the bottom tower either. OG should be able to just finish that one off. They're pinging it like they want to defend though.
Is under attack.
Be a hard defense to make. I mean, maybe because Aramis is 6, and they do have the potential to
Radiant's bottom
more
tower
aggressively
has
set up
fallen.
for the
Too
counter
fast.
plays. It's already gone. They're looking towards mid instead. Boom. Pushing in. Shada, the all-important ultimates now ready on Aramis and Celery. They've got a huge combo to blow up any member of OG, really, if they can land that hook shot on Ice Blast.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Kezu started pulling support, Saksa.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Cracking shot there from Celery.
That is some,
There's the tips. They're going over to Seb because why not? Well, there we have it. Celery, he's feeling good about that. Beautiful shot.
The media pushing coming out from Sumail in the bottom lane. Magnus farming inside jungle.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Thompson has his echo
Dire's
done.
top
So
tower
he looks like
is
he's
under
going to be that,
attack.
you know, they don't have a right clicker with Empower from your traditional carry sense, but hey, Earthspur, he packs a punch on it. With the damage
60
talent,
damage,
plus,
it's a lot.
plus, dude, with the Empower, man. I'm looking forward to see what potential it's got.
Yeah. I mean, like whatever hero in the game has a damage talent that's close to that level 10, right? There's some like, what, like
Dire's
Kuka
middle
has like a
tower
plus
is
30,
under
or
attack.
maybe
Lion
plus
has the
20.
70, right? At 10, I
Oh,
think
he
that's
has
it. But he's not a
oh.
carry, you know, but that's literally the only other one that's that high in 10.
Sure. But on melee heroes, this is
on
probably
melee,
the highest.
gotta be the
60
highest,
damage. That's... I mean, how much would 60 damage set you back if you're looking at items?
Dire's top tower is
I think
under
that's
attack.
40 damage, that's
a relic.
2,200. It's a relic, yeah.
Yeah.
That's effectively, that's much bigger value than many of the level 7 talents in the game. You know, when
Look
you
at
look
his
at sort of
damage.
just straight up value.
Look at Thompson's damage. Yeah, look at that. He's
Yeah.
got like 200.
Dire's top
Well,
tower is
two
under
tips doesn't
attack.
show it, of course, but he's got plus 117.
Got a smoke up from OG. Try and look to lead in here. Thompson with the level 10 that we're talking about. He's ready to punch.
And Shad's still just farming Ancient, so he's fine. He's still getting like well and truly enabled. Here's Celery. He's gonna be the one who's found, but I think that's just fine. That's your 5.
True Shad, yeah. Space is certainly being made for it. Yep, he's getting on track with the Vanguard
Dire's
into
middle
Manta. He
tower
needs
is
time,
under
he's getting it.
attack.
Kezu's starting to take good control.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
They're going to get the lead in, look towards Boom. Hot shot, off the mark. Light strike away from Saxon, comes crashing down with the Invoker. Boom still trying his best to get out of there. He's actually going to be able to break away from the criminals. Aramis is in with the battery assault. Stops Thompson from being able to pull up with any further rolling boulders. They'll turn towards Aramis instead. But Aramis going down is given time and space for Boom to get away from the rest. The full 5-man here now of OG that's looking to bring the action.
Thompson's in again anyway. Forward.
Fine Celery. Get the blast out though. Thompson is trying to roll away. They put the control here with the call. Still, OG there able to outnumber Vikings. Thompson, he's diving in further. He's feeling strong and empowered here from the back of the motel with a false promise. Another roll away. OG now deciding to start backing up as the respawn started coming to play, but Thompson took too much damage through the false promise. He ends up going down anyway. Now Kezu, he's in with the spiders. He's blocking off the escape. Saxa struggling to get himself around the spiderlings, and he can't escape. Shad closes in with the dog. He's got the cool control on the Samuel. Shad, he's going to be able to have another dunk in a second. There it is. Double kill for Shad. No tail caught in the cogs. Vikings. They're having none of this aggression from OG as they hit back way harder than OG was coming in with themselves. You know, diving towards this tier 2. An incredible amount of aggression from Thompson. Too much aggression as that hurts OG big time there. Big step up for Viking.
Thompson is a Literal madman. Diving into tier 2, he gave away his team's ward with that. It gets instant dewarded. And then they just, I mean, that's such an over chase there. He gets vesseled. No healing coming out. That was strange coming out from OG, but Viking, they show up with numbers. They fight back, and now Shad all the way at the top. Pretty much got the Manta done. OG, they do have these huge stacks now to go back and work on, but that was quite an overextension that Viking's going to be very.
Absolutely. Now we see Thompson straight up, and he needs that BKB next up. He has it queued. Just something to allow him to get away with those sort of moves. You know that OG's going to be making them, especially when you see a draft like this. That doesn't necessarily mean they're always going to work out. Viking, they knew what they were signing up for here when they came into this first series against OG. And with the moves and reactions like that around the tier 2s, you know, they know exactly what OG's going to be bringing towards them. And they're showing that they do have answers for it.
Dire's top tower is
And
under
they're
attack.
already starting to get their own tier. Like, this tower's dead. Kez is going to finish this off, and then they have outpost control, so they're going to start denying some good XP from OG.
Dire's
OG
top
is going to
tower
have
has
to make their own move. They're already pinging down toward this bottom tower, and they can push very fast tier 2, but again, well, I got to watch out for these overextensions. One of those, and I think he's going to be just in a pretty damn good spot this game to control map. And they do scale very hard. Sure, this Earth Spirit has good damage.
Aramis, he's going to be able to find the angle onto Seb. Seb, he can't get back onto his side of the map in time. Zaramis catches him out. Viking picking up another, now starting to build up that net worth lead for themselves as that laning stage where OG were able to have the security, the advantage with the matchups. It's starting to become a bit of a distant memory now. Viking, they're bringing in the stronger players.
Absolutely, and even though, you know, like I was mentioning, the Earth Spirit, he gets all this high damage and scaling potential and all that, I think we've seen really displayed by LGD that Axe is gonna outscale. He's gonna get to a point where he's just gonna start killing every and just cutting the waves and making the game impossible. So, you know, LG can't make too many more slip-ups, it feels like.
Now the Ice Blast in onto Notel. They're ready to back up their Oracle. In fact, Thompson is ready to charge straight in. He's in with the silence onto Boom. Spirit Burst is going to be laid down onto Thompson now. Popping out the clock to try and split up the fight. They push the two of them back here with the Deafening Blast. Cold Feet will kick in for Thompson. The Viking now keeping themselves to the edge of the fight. They don't have Shab with them. Thompson desperately trying to chase to catch a member of Viking, but Viking proved to be able to do a bit of a better job than OG was able to when it comes to knowing when to back, knowing when to get out. As Viking, nobody gets caught, nobody gets left behind.
I think it's super important if Viking's able to disengage in any of these situations. I think if you're not dying and not losing fights to OG right now, the scaling you're going to get in the later stages is going to be ridiculous. You have a Midas Invoker, you have Axe getting to this Manta Shard build soon. You're going to start getting a lot stronger, so just weather the storm. Don't let OG run you over in the next fight. You're at a great position with a good pull. And just keep looking for these fights. Don't let them outnumber you. So this looks pretty good for Viking. And now looking to defend again top, even bringing the AA. I like that they're doing this. Just bring the battle back.
Show themselves present at the tower, and it's enough to stop OG from looking around any longer. They back off. Boom. Midas done, going straight for the BKB. These BKB timings for both sides, incredibly important due to the way that we're seeing both teams just consistently look to just butt heads with each other.
Lots of force stabs we see, of course, on OG to deal with that clockwork. Two finished up. Thompson getting close to that BKB to have his own protection. Sumail. Okay, he's got the Shroud and he's got the Sage. So he's got that insane health, HP regen and lifesteal amp. So when he is Oracle ult, he is running inside the fights. If he's not AA blasted, he will likely be at full. That's if he's not blasted during the ends of those ticks, though, because it will prevent the healing at that a false promise. And they have to make sure they ultimate a decent threshold too. That is one scary thing about Axe. You can still dunk false promise if they don't get it off early enough on the lash. Especially with Shad getting such good levels, he'll get that 20 talent early, the plus 150 threshold.
They've got to be careful, and Notel's definitely got his work cut out, you know, but whether it be looking towards Sumail, keeping his Lesh alive and buffed up in the fight, or just trying to bail out Thompson when Thompson goes in head first to the action.
Or trying to protect him, trying to just stay in a good position and stay protected, because he's versus Clockwork Rocket to scout him, Spiders swooping in from the back lines too, so it's difficult. OG, they've got a timing. BKB done on Thompson, it's a big one.
He's ready to go in. Looking for Aramis. Aramis is going to be able to hop over the wall of Notel. The Ice Blast comes crashing in onto Sumail and Seb. Aramis continuing to run down Notel. Kezu coming over the back up, pops the pipe. He's keeping Aramis alive. alive. Samael trying to turn to bring down the clock. Will finally manage to do so. They get the catch on Kez as well with the light strike array lining up for the rolling boulder from Thompson. This time round, OG, they'll get the 2 kills, keeping everybody alive. Viking weren't quite prepared for a fight of the proportions there that OG brought to them.
Thompson didn't even use BKB either. He just rolled and he held it during the entire fight too, and now he finds himself with double damage too, so that high damage here he is doing will be increased. And I think same thing though for Viking, it's still just, you gotta stick together. If you know the way OG's gonna move around the map with the lineup that they've drafted, they're gonna look to play as this fighting 5-man. And it is OG, which they do that fighting 5-man anyway, even if they didn't have this type of draft. But I think Viking just needs to be a bit more together if they're gonna look to go for those type of fights.
Use these fights to keep on track with Shad's farm. Shad, his network is going to start shooting ahead at a pace that, when it comes to just straight up farming the map, hitting the creeps, it's going to be very hard for any of OG's members to keep up with the Manta Ag Shard Act.
It's just silly because there's no risk with Manta Shard of the Act. You know, you're farming the whole map, but OG, they have to show themselves in order to do that. That's why this axe is just so crazy. So we're going to just continue to see a lot of this until it does get potentially nerfed again.
The next move with the Rangers here from OG. Relatively split up at the moment. Saxo trying to get his bots farmed up on the bottom. Rather close to it as well, so we'll have that extra way to make sure that they can put pressure on these side lanes while still being kitted up and prepared to join forces to tackle Viking in a 5v5.
It does still look like both teams are fine with the state of the game though, right? Like OG, I see them like sitting back, they're farming. They probably feel like they have a good way to scale too. Viking, they've got great ways to scale, as we mentioned with that Midas on the Invoker plus the Hex. But they do have Brood, and I know that a lot of the teams, a lot of the players have talked about how it gets to a point eventually where Brood just stops doing too much. So maybe that's where OG's looking at being like, okay, well, we've got things to do with. We've got late game too.
Talking about the Brood, he's able to find him. Straight up with the rolling boulder. Tornado comes out to try and hold them back, but it'll only flip onto Samael. Kezu goes down. OG ready to charge in for the next target. Thompson on the hunt. Might able to get the slow onto Aramis. Aramis, fancy footwork, doing his best to dodge it. Hook shot up to the entries. Aramis may just make it out of there. Holds just in time, pushes back Seb, jumping, and they still are able to find the grab. Thompson in with another roll. Can catch the clock, take him out.
Fancy footwork. Almost gets himself out, but
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Seeing a Viking. BKB is going to be done on Shad. Really wants that blink to be done until he's at a point where he feels he can turn up and potentially turn around.
Radiant structures are
moves that
fortified.
OG's making against
Radiant's
them.
top tower
even though they're
is
the
under
ones with the
attack.
axe, they're getting out efficiency'd on the map. OG's getting much more farm and just swinging
Dire's
around as
bottom
this
tower
unit here. They
is
keep
under
forcing
attack.
reactions, and they're even stealing away ancients. Like look at Thompson, just farming them with this
Radiant are
empower.
scanning.
And Kezu makes his way back up, but he's got to be careful. They're swinging Shad over though. BKB's done, but he doesn't have a blink for the setup, so he just got to walk in at this axe still.
And Thompson's going to be hard to kill. Even with the damage output of the axe later on, with this heart build, you know, it's a lot of HP that you're trying to get yourself through. It's a tanky Earth Spirit. With the backup of sustain of heroes like No-Tail's Oracle, you know, maybe the days of Thompson diving in first and dying are far behind that of OG. They're really going to have to throw everything down on this Earth Spirit to have any chance of killing Thompson.
They have to find the backline too. Like it's going to be Aramis has to find No-Tail, and then I mean, I'm seeing Boom queuing up for the BKB, which you can see why, but maybe it is feeling like they are going to need just that Cataclysm a bit sooner. He's still a little low level, so it's only level 4 on the Exort, but yeah, it just feels like OG's just getting more out of the map right now, controlling runes as well. Another DD on Thompson.
2K lead, steadily being built up by OG. Shad, 900 into the Blink Dagger. See over on the side of OG, Seb just continue to build up the auras, the protection, heading towards the Greaves. Saxa again finding himself some space down on the bottom. Straight for the Ether Lens.
Great Lotus Orb game too now. Versus just pretty much Spirit Vessel. You can just protect his teammates versus that and the Cold Snap from the Invoker. For Cold Feet, so it's a good one. Good pick up here for Seb. He's just gonna go for auras like you said. No tail, he's just sitting in mid lane, maybe expecting a move to go out on Topsy, because Topsy's farming that risky wave. He's just sitting there, Shadow Emulator, chilling.
So I think it's just so hard to make a move on Topson.
Feels like it.
As you mentioned as well, Viking, I don't think they'll be falling for any sort of that bait. You know, Topson alone presenting himself like that, I don't think they're going for that. They know the importance of finding the heroes around him before they get aggressive and try to do something.
And we do see, by the way, boom, and switch up the build. I think they're starting to realize, like, they're just farming the map. It's 11 to 11, yeah. But it's the gold lead's accruing more and more for OG. Like, they're just splitting up. They have spots, you know. Even though the axe is on the top side of Viking, OG is doing a better job of just keeping those side lanes pushed out with little to no risk.
And he's going to have it very soon. Yeah. Just a couple of hundred gold away from the axe.
Yeah.
Won't be at full power, but will certainly be something.
And it's gonna coincide with Shad's blink. It's about to have that done, but very passive. Kezu's starting to accumulate an army up top as a siege wave pushing towards, so we'll see one of OG's heroes react toward there. See Kezu also, he's been doing this most of the game, didn't really point it out, but layering spiders throughout the jungle, as you see the map right there. He's got pretty much scouting of the whole OG jungle.
The halberd coming out. Not really the traditional counter you'd expect to an Earth Spirit. Oh my goodness, this Earth Spirit, we need a halberd to deal with him. But of course, with the strength and the damage talent, those right clicks on this Topson build really do count. So having some sort of way to really stop that major source of physical right click damage that could come out after some of these setups like the RP will make a huge difference in the damage output of OG's team fight.
Oh, Shad's got enough damage. I mean, I know it's an axe who usually does have enough damage with himself, but
yeah,
it feels like the rest of far behind his Shad. He gets
they're going to get the grab on him. They'll drop the Cataclysm, make sure they burst the Magnus before any sort of response comes out from OG. And a quick kill on the Mag like that, Seb off the map for a minute. That'll give Viking the confidence to head straight into the Roshan.
That's not quick too. That's pure damage to Dojo. Alacrity as well thrown on top. Topson has hard finish. They're in the area.
Do anything to interrupt this though. Got a ward. Sorry, full preload. They're going to try and burst center up to the sides. There's going to be a buyback coming out from Seb. Vikings starting to step outside of the pit. Topson committing him with the BKB over on the side of Shad. He's caught the back lines. He's found Saxa. Saxa gets taken out. Boom. Attempting to get away with the ghost walk. Topson is able to find with the dust. Deafening blast from Boom. Pushes back Topson. They're looking back towards the Roche. Shad. He's trying to finish this. He's focusing it down. No one else is in the pit. Shad is going to be able to get him. Finish Roche. Grab that Aegis. Off to the side. He's in with the jump. The call off the mark though. Won't be able to grab Samael or No Tails. The two of them split. Samael though falling low to the power of this Ice Blast. The false promise comes out. Shad, he's holding his ground here with the BKB, steps back over towards No Tail. No Tail, he's providing the heals over towards Samael, but the dunk from Shad comes down onto No Tail. Jump off from Shad, chasing onto Samael. Seb will push back Shad with the skewer. The blast different getting not enough to finish Samael off, but Samael will live. The second buyback though coming out from OG around this fight. Topson still full HP on the high ground. Alice and Shad, little mana has enough just for a call. It's the cold feet. Seb's coming over. Topson very tanky. Tries to roll away. Kezu will be able to block him off. He's still sitting here with his 3,600 HP. They can't kill this Earth Spirit. They've got to bail. They've got to back off, especially now with the rest of OG coming back into play, chasing them down. Viking, they'll play heavily on the retreat. Topson, he wants to try and catch someone in onto Aramis. Aramis has the glimmer. There's the control from Saxa. Light Strike comes crashing down along with the dust. They'll take down Aramis.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Long fight, but the pick off that they get on Seb really pays off. They can get that rush. They lose Boom, but they get Shad. His Aegis. He's got his shard. He's got his Arcane Moon picked up, and they do lose the tower, and they do actually lose the gold on the map here too, but a pretty good hit.
Dire's top tower
anyway,
is
it's shown that the
under
axe can do the damage, but Topson is an issue.
Yeah, they've really got to get Topson in this sort of setup and capture him, Shad.
Yeah.
For the full damage of him and the illusion spinning away, Cataclysm. Without those two components, they're not killing Topson at all. Here we have perfect setup, the call into the Cataclysm and the blast. It's still not enough though, just down to half HP. Topson, he's out with the BKB, he'll go for the TP away. With the magic immunity lasting just long enough, he'll make it safely back to base. But I mean, there we have it, pretty much as I say, that all the spells hitting that need to barely threatens Topson even with them all landing.
Rack it on!
Yeah, he's going to be another cookie to crack, but if they can isolate him, can definitely see the potential for Viking as they're smoked. They're still feeling strong. Level 19 on Shad, about to hit 20 for that extra threshold.
Radiant are scanning.
Shad's going to start scouting with those spiders.
Either Shad or Aramis cooking the setup here. Shad. They look towards the mouth, going to catch here. Over by the creep wave, Ice fast in. They can't save him. The hook shot from Aramis comes out with backlines, catches Zed, catches Noto, pushes Noto down at the river with the cogs. They've taken out 2 of OG, and there's no buybacks available on these 2. So the rest of OG, they're going to have to take this fight 3 versus 5. They get the cool control onto Thompson. Thompson, he's trying to roll away, but Aramis is in with the body block. So 3rd death on OG as Seb and Saxa, they have to split. Boom's going to continue to hunt down the Lina. Saxa does try and slow down Boom. Turns with the light strike, will catch on to Boom. The movement speed, is it going to be enough here for Saxa? Does have the TP available, he's into the trees, he will manage to make it away. But a big hit there from Vikings, sending around the mid. And as you say, maybe Thompson just a little too set for another round. A few seconds too early before that BKB would have been back and prepared.
Yeah, they got full scouted too. The Spiders swung behind from Kezu. They saw the Lesh walk into the river onto the low ground.
Dire's
Boom,
bottom tower
immediately
is
get the
under
jump.
attack.
I don't even know if the False Promise was in range yet, but either way, Aramis was there to cover it. Gets a 2-man hook shot. Great fight from Viking again. And they're just, I think the biggest thing is just, like you said, identifying that fact, the speed that you can make the moves. Earth Spirit BKB was down. They just were not ready to fight. And Seb so far unable to really find any situations for an RP. I don't think we've seen one, have we?
I think just the solo one on Shad in the laning stage, down bottom at the very start. Other than that, no, Seb's, he's just not been able to make it in. It really has just been a lot of it has been Aramis. The clockwork is the perfect answer to these heroes. You know, these heroes that are trying to initiate that don't have the ability to be the first to start the action, and of course Notel, Saxa, who supports that. Aramis is handling pretty well in these team fights.
Yeah, and sometimes it might look like they might be lacking damage. Like, you look at this Viking draft and you could think that they might lack some damage in some instances without the Cataclysm. But when you have an axe like this, the damage is just so ridiculous. Shad put it on the way.
He's going to double back in, get the call up onto Thompson. He's in with a kick, breaks Seb away from the Cataclysm combo. They're going to throw him down into the RP. They've caught Shad. Can Shad actually get out of this? Zamael comes in from the side, will get the stun down. They work Shad. Now this is round 2 coming in from Shad. Aramis, he wants to be a part of it. Buys back, ready to head straight back over to help out Zach. So he's trying to. The stun control's there. They've got nothing to break Shad out of the combo. Jump forward from Seb. He's also able to get the grab onto Cello. He steals him straight back into the heart of OG. As OG, they'll be able to finally get themselves back on track with a solid fight. Catching out the big man there. Shad down now for 70 seconds. The axe out of the game.
It chain stunned him too. He couldn't even get the BKB off after he revived. They just kept getting the stuns on him over and over again, and a nice kick out from Thompson, saving the mag. And as soon as we're saying it, of course, Seb is able to find a pretty decent to get a win for Sumail to come in and clean up. 5k gold lead back to OG.
Absolutely, and that's the thing with Shad getting as much farm as he is. You know, Sumail sort of outside of the action has been keeping up very, very nicely. Now taking, in fact, the top spot against Shad's farm. As long as they can fight around Sumail, keep the space available for Sumail to do his job. This Lash is going to kick out a lot of damage over the sustained brawls that Vikings can't be a part of against those two.
Yeah, these long fights could be pretty difficult for Vikings for sure. With Bloodstone, with the Shroud, there's so much extra healing that Sumail does have. Blink 2, extra survivability if you are False Promise. Spider legs 2 to, scurry around the fights. Now these stuns layered. It's good for Vikings to really set up with their own racks.
Yeah, just with no shot, no defense potential there at all. As the Rex gets taken out, he can catch Thompson. Whilst he comes in with the attempt to retreat, still got the BKB ready to pop. In fact, they're ready to turn. Shad tries to get him with the call. He's not going to be able to get the grab somehow. He's able to get himself out of the Cataclysm combo. They brought down Notel. Thompson, they won't lose anyone else indeed. Zach's also able to make it out in the lane. Objective taken. Only an Oracle's life to cost for it there.
Those are the moments when you know as a supporter, as an Oracle, that you're dead. Your carry, your Earth Spirit just rolls into the tier 4s. You're an Oracle versus a mother and a clock. Spiders just around you. You got no hope. You get the racks, so that's the important thing for OG. And continue to scale. SNY now on Thompson 2.
Back to base you go. Back to base you go.
Definitely slowing down a little bit now for Viking. Kippy on Boom, so he's going to be a little more set to position himself aggressively, but I think, considering the way the game is going, it is going to be the refresher that's the real key timing one. Once again, all about the burst that they can offer in that combo. It really is. We talked about how the sustained fights right now will favor that of OG. For Viking, it's all about that initiation or the counter initiation, getting in and starting the fight off with a numbers advantage, bursting down at least one of OG's cores or both of the support backliners to start the fight.
Absolutely. And yeah, OG, they look like they're ready to go for this push again. Thompson's already in the mid lane. They have Seb dealing with the bottom. This is 35 minutes, so we see these catapult waves coming in.
Can do it. Thompson ready to put the BKB, and he's ready to try and get in on this. Rolls in up to taking a heavy damage underneath the tower. Aramis in with a hook shot, pushing back the coast as well. He's caught in the cataclysm. He's taking heavy damage after his false promise. He's going to fall pretty low, Thompson. Notel's trying to offer up enough heals to keep Thompson safe, but he cannot do so. Thompson dying underneath the tier 3s, and Shaq, he's ready to turn this in a ball. Gets the jump in on the Sax, the calls down onto the leader. He's looking to charge down, hex down onto Seb, as Seb will skewer away as this little piggy tries to run up the high ground. He actually makes it out with a blink. Seb skewer off just in time before the hex came into play. As Seb's able to fly his way out of there. But still, nonetheless, 3 dead on OG. Again, just playing a little too close to the tower. Thompson overestimating his tank ability with the BKB in the heart. With one spot, I think they might get it. Sumail as well. Shad with the spider legs. That's enough. Sumail's able to make his way over the cliff. He will get out. Who's looking for Seb up top?
Yeah, they're setting up top already.
So if they can get anyone else out of it. As Aramis is making his way over, hookshot is up.
The base you go.
Seb, the force and a skewer. He's deep into the trees. Aramis won't be able to follow up.
Vikings playing this, they're still playing this very, very well. Like, this game is 21-17,
It's
still
close.
super
It's a
close.
close game.
It's good how they're identifying that. OG, they identified, they're like, oh, 35 minutes, we got these double sieges, let's split up, kill the one bottom, but also go for mid. Thompson just goes too far. Viking, identify that, they punish it. So this is really good balance from both sides, understanding what they need to do in the game, but OG overstepping a couple times now in this game, getting called out for it here. Thompson, now this is the second time that he stepped up.
Taking the catch on a Seb hookshot as well as the false promise. He'll try and get Seb back to safety. False promise comes down from Notel. Seb, he's looking to turn, will drop the RP, it's down on the Boom, but Boom got the BKB off in time, so there's going to be no follow-up after the RP. Viking, they'll get away, so will OG though. Seb will be safe.
37 minutes, we got new items to pick up for both sides. Against better luck.
I guess the big one, of course, as always, is the illusionist cape for Shad if he can find that.
Yeah. Timeless Relic, also for the side of OG would be really big, but they actually get on Viking, which is huge also for the Invoker.
Juicy tier 4s here. Telescope, you know, never going to complain about finding a telescope.
OG's on the hunt. No RP at the ready, but they know BKB still on cooldown for Viking.
Or Celery. Off the side, Shad actually for the counterplay. They get the Hexen onto Seb. The Lotus was there as well. They'll blow up the AA. Celery not able to get back underneath his tower.
He gets like 2-shotted by the Earth Spirit. 500 damage Earth Spirit.
They're looking for Aramis as well. They found this second support. It's Aramis. Gonna be a buyback to Celery. Aramis turns straight away with the hookshot in onto Notel. They've blown up the Oracle. Now they'll turn towards Thompson, but Thompson with the BKB is ready to push it. Rolling ball straight past Aramis though. Aramis will still fall for the damage output of Sumail. Trying to bring back Saxa and Seb. Thompson is out with the roll. They've got nothing else to catch him, but Saxa keeping the hits and onto Shad, stopping his ability from being able to blink in and get the catch off. Boom over towards the mid. He's running down Sumail with the Cold Snap and the Spirit Vessel. Sumail backups coming in. Seb charging forward. He's using the force stuff to try and get Sumail back to safety. The spider legs are there. Shad calls off the mark. Won't catch the two of them. Cold Snap down onto Sumail. Now Shad, he's being controlled. Will put the man to trying to get away. The set back in with a skewer. Skewer onto Shad. Shad will fall. The axe down. 3 dead on Viking. Thompson catch onto Kezu in with the Rolling Thunder. Straight over. Kezu turns with the Hex onto Saxa to stop any follow-up light strike away from coming out straight away. It doesn't matter though. Saxa has the time still to turn. Kezu getting completely controlled here. Another slow from the boulder of Thompson in with a stun. Landing everything here against the spider, leaving Kezu no chance to break away from the control of Thompson and Saxa. 4 dead on Viking.
That was a crazy fight. There was like 2 different fights going on during the entirety of it. Chad's chasing Seb the whole time while Thompson's zoning 3 heroes as the Earth Spirit. And that's with OG losing Notel right at the start of the fight. And they still can't do it. Thompson. 5,130 HP Earth Spirit. Zoning away 3 heroes with the Lesh. That was a huge fight for OG.
Yeah, especially, you know, with the way that, yeah, as you say, Viking, they did sort of make the big, well, what could potentially have been a big brain move to turn that initial hookshot from Aramis, pretty much finding it onto Notel through the entire squad of OG, blowing up the Oracle. It just didn't quite matter this time round. Viking not having the positioning to deal with OG running at them and sort of tearing them apart, distracting them, splitting the team away from one another.
And like Sumail's just his self-healing. He didn't even need the Oracle's healing this time around. The Bloodstone plus the Shroud, it was enough to keep him topped off and just keep disengaging. He also had a Haste that did come into play, but the Shad got like a good two-man call on the back who didn't get like this crazy amount of spins, but look at the fight could have gone either way until the last few seconds of it there with Thompson just holding his ground. 5,150 HP with a Trickster Cloak, but this Airspirit's pretty damn unkillable unless he just dives too far. We've seen it a few times.
Especially with that Trickster Cloak. Yeah. A lot of effective HP to try and work through. Thompson, he's probably going to have to dive into the fountain to have the sort of situations where OG's getting punished for the aggression, but no, it is OG. That can very well happen. We may find Thompson in that exact position. You got to watch out for it.
And we do have the refresher done for Boom now too. So we do have a secondary go after the first explosion. They could have a secondary Cataclysm that can clean up. Because it does feel like, you know, we said there maybe could get to points for damage issues for Viking, and we actually are getting to those points versus crazy tanky Earth Spirits. The second round of it will help, but they're trapped in their base. OG continue to get that over efficiency of the map.
It's going to be a test now here for OG. How safely can they break away the high ground objectives from Viking without falling to the temptation of diving in deep against them?
They're about to be 25 on the Lash, so that'll help quite a lot just to push that much quicker. Hobson also does have a DD, finds himself a Spell Prism too. And yeah, he's going in.
See what they got on the high ground there, Viking. Setting things up. Look at Shad and Aramis. Already trying to get him from the side. Looking for an angle on the back lines. Aramis, he's in it. He's been able to find Notel. Straight in onto the Oracle. Notel. He's trying to protect himself, but the Ice Blast comes crashing and he gets taken out. Over to the side, Shad. They're protecting him for now with the Glimmer Cape. Stuart over to the side. If they got further locked down for the axe, they don't. Shad's able to put the BKB. Heading up the height, and he's got the court control onto Thompson. Caught underneath the tower. Locktrack away from Sansa. Holds back the two of them, but Boom now with the BKB out. Chases towards Thompson. Jump forward for Shad. He's in with the dog. They're taking out the Earth Spirit. OG's push will be put to a stop as again Aramis just finding somehow that this angle every single time through the entire team fight, the entire 5-man of OG, he keeps finding the perfect line onto Notel.
And they no messing around too. I thought maybe for a second it could be like a bit of a mistake there from Boom just doing the full double Cataclysm, because I don't think most of the actual Sunstrikes connected, but they got the Oracle, and then Earth Spirit just commits a bit too far. He gets a little too overzealous trying to finish off the Invoker and just gets completely locked down. So OG does still have to give some respect to this massive burst combo and also to the wraparound. Like Aramis, time and time again, has been able to find those wraps.
Yeah, these are big holds, big moves here from the defensive from Viking, considering as well, still 11k down against OG, but making moves like that, you definitely don't feel that much of a difference between the two squads.
Yeah.
Very solid moves from Viking.
And a good point out there from our observer. You know, I did mention how Thompson did switch out to go for Spell Prism instead of going for the Trickster Cloak. Maybe that Trickster would have been enough to keep him alive inside of that crazy dive forward. He was swapping the cheese in, and he had like 1 second or so left till the cheese was back in inventory. So, yeah, it probably would have saved him there, at least for some time to get the Oracle back in position.
In the next rounds. Sumail still huge as ever.
Sure is.
His back and forth moves. 28,000 net worth on the Leshrac. Getting closer to being able to pick up this Arcane Blink and still having the availability of buyback.
And Notel, he has no buyback. If he gets killed in this next fight, he's not going to be able to buy back and come back to join in like he's been trying to in the last few. So OG, it's a bit of a scary push for them. Even though they have 8 seconds, they're probably feeling a bit concerned to actually go for it here, as I believe the double Cataclysm's back up in 20 seconds for the Invoker.
Dire's bottom tower
going to be keeping an eye on that timing for sure, you would imagine, OG. Yep. The question has to be, what are they going to do about it? I mean, when it comes to OG's heroes, we see Thompson very much,
bottom tower
he does have a pretty long reach in terms of who he can dive in and get on top of. But other than that, actually finding someone to really stop Boom from ever getting off his combo from the back of the fight, it's not easy for OG's heroes. No. They can't really stop Boom from doing his job every single time. As long as Aramis or Shad's in between Boom and OG, Shad's gonna, Boom's gonna be able to drop those double cataclysms every single team fight.
Absolutely. It's not easy, no? Especially with No Tail having no buyback or not. Like, if you've been watching his last gameplay for the last minute and a half or so, he's just Shadow Amulet randomly in the river. Because he knows it's like, if he gets caught, the game could just get really weird for them in the next few moments. Because he'll be down for like 100 seconds, they'll lose full map control. Even though they've got the 10k gold advantage, this Cataclysm is no joke. So yeah, it feels like they have to, just these angles of approaches is a bit strange, it's a bit difficult. Sab might be needing to get that RP off, but it's the same thing. Like they're fine. They're getting on top of that backline. They're getting on the Magnus. They're getting on the Oracle to prevent them from still anybody's game, really.
Absolutely. We see Topson now here in the late game. Queuing up the Ags. What do you think he's got in mind when it comes to this? Is this going to be picked
save.
up? Is it for the save or for the disable on one of these cores of Viking? His job's now going to be just sort of kicking No Tail out of the team fight, at least giving No Tail a chance to live if they do find it.
It could be both. It's probably more so just saving No Tail, because then he can if he just gets the Stone Remnant onto him, then he survives throughout the Cataclysm combo. But if he sees an opportunity where he can roll in and kick somebody out of base, there's always possibilities. And then they've got skewers and they've got the boulder to kick people out of base. Chant Remnant, sorry. So
I mean, that is true.
It's a lot of range.
We haven't really seen a lot of this game around OG's base, but when it does get there, OG's going to have a pretty good delivery system for taking heroes from the tier 3s straight into their fountain. So Viking, as much as they're pulling out a very impressive hold on their half of the map, they've definitely got quite a mountain to climb when it comes to turning that into the ability to end the game or threaten the game against OG.
You know what my favorite thing about this game is, though, Owen? We have two lineups that are very explosive, right? With like their Cataclysm combos, AA Blast, we have even Lagunas and stuff like that. Let's take a look at how many Aeon discs we have. It's a big 0 right now, which makes me feel really nice. I don't know, that item is running rampant everywhere.
I mean, what is it, sort of a gentleman's agreement from the teams, you think? And I know nobody wants to play with
They're going to start
this,
buying it now. I think No Tail's probably like any of them.
Bounty.
Smoke up from Viking. As soon as the action's back on, they want to bring the heat.
There's another Aeon disc. Yeah, as soon as we say it, man, look, Shad's got one. We've got one coming out on No Tails.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense from Shad as well.
Sure does.
So him, sure, damage is going to be limited from himself, but just being able to survive and get the call off, allowing Boom to drop the 2 cataclysms, the lockdown from the axe will be enough to start off the action, even if the Aeon just gets procced.
There it goes.
Clockwork rocketing side lanes, scouting out. OG, they'll show themselves down bottom.
Radiant's courier
get the push
has
going
been
again.
killed. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
It dies
The tier
fast.
3's OG.
They gotta get back quick, Viking.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
What Shad can do, from the side.
Are fortified.
Stepping up, he's got to look for the grab, he's been able to catch the towards the back line, he's found Seb and Saxa. Straight up with the hook shot as well, and Seb pushing him back to the courts into the second round of Cataclysm. Seb doesn't get away with the skewer, but the damage is done. Seb's out for 2 minutes. Thompson, BKB has come to an end. Aramis committing with his own BKB, the Cell Stone into the slide away. Thompson will break his way out of any further combo. In fact, Thompson's ready to go back in. Thompson look to finish off the range reactor. So to be a bit careful with no BKB. Jump forward, the Hex is out onto Aramis. Somehow he's in with the damage tornado, holds out, throws to the 2 of them. Aramis still somehow alive. Will get the cocks off. Aramis has died, but he's been able to trap Samel and Thompson rolls out to the side. Cold feet kicks in. Samel's been taken out. Thompson, another roll to get off to the side. Aramis not quite able to get the angle there with the hook shot. He's still trying to run away. Shad, he's going to blink up in a few seconds, but with the rolling thunder, Thompson will be able to continue to get out of there. They find No Tail off to the side. Tornado in from Boom. They've caught the Oracle as No Tail down for 100. Both him and Seb without the ability to buy back. As Viking only having to utilize the buyback of Aramis to hold OG off. As OG will be pushed back. They're not able to claim anything from the mid set of racks. And now a bit of a window where Viking, they could punch back pretty hard and take objectives. OG already top. Boom, he's looking for the setup onto Thompson. He's been able to sneak over into the jungle. He's found Thompson. And with the outpost under their control, Aramis gets him with the TP. Hookshot is up, but this stone form lasts just long enough from Thompson to avoid the connection of the hookshot. Thompson, he'll only just, but he will manage to get himself away.
Dire's
Viking
middle
got
tower is under
so
attack.
much out of that. They got top racks. They got a huge fight in the mid lane. They only lost, what, a range rack of all
Dire's
of it
middle
too.
tower
Yep.
has
Yeah,
fallen.
massive. Absolutely
Range
massive.
reaction and a clockwork buyback. So very small
Very small.
things being offered by Viking to be able to take that against those. He's in on the mid. He's been caught out by the core. We're going to BKB off in time, but the first Cataclysm comes crashing in. Hook shot off the mark there. Can't quite get past Shad to get the control onto Thompson. So Thompson will be able to still step back underneath the tower. Turn with the silent Shad. Eon Disc will proc. They're back up for now, 10 seconds until Seb's back in, about 10 as well until Samel's back in the game. Samel really not wanting to have to use his buyback, of course, in these last few seconds that he is off the map. See if Viking can force the racks in time over the Shad. He gets the grab on Saxa. Saxa standing a little too close. Over to the mid, Seb. He's in with the RP, onto the two of them. He's able to push back Aramis underneath the tower as well as Kesu, but there's no follow-up onto both of them. Buyback comes out from Saxa. Another skewer. Again from Seb, scooping up the two of them. Aramis will die underneath the tier 4's Kesu, trying to break away with the help of the wedge, but the light strike comes crashing down from Saxa. Ketu will fall. OG themselves this time round, just one support buyback will hold back Viking. Viking not quite able to get the melee racks in the mid lane, as OG, they will bring out the defense.
And it's 100 seconds now the other way. Let's see what OG looks to make happen with that time, since they didn't have their Magnus for 100 seconds, so that's why Viking went full push. Now he's got to go in the other way. Seb, he should have buyback for the next. He was just short on build, I think it was. So now this one he'll be able to get a little bit more farm out, and we'll have buyback after this next push. So
Dire are scanning.
gotta look to set for that one up, and yeah, we'll see what Viking does look to set up for here. Shad does buy out. He spends gold, so he's got that super high attack speed now. But yeah, 50 seconds.
Some creep waves here.
He needs to, because they could just lose. They could get megged right here. That's the scary thing about this Earth Spirit plus this Flash Strike. It's 50 seconds. That's more than enough time.
How many creeps getting too close? There's not going to be any backdoor protection here for Viking as Thompson. Tier 3's gone. Onto the racks here. What can the three of them offer up Viking? Thompson. Into the roll. He's going to be able to use the Stone Bomb here to kick him back deep into the hands of the rest of OG. Shad still able to get the BKB off in time. BKB and walk off to the side. They'll put the fortification. Still 30 seconds until Vikings got the full squad left alive. Boom. The AoE deafening blast. Slowing down the push here from Thompson a little bit. Not enough. The range rack still goes out. Thompson over towards the melee racks. So we're just the three hard to put them back. Samel, he's in aggressive with a hex onto Boom. Thompson rolls forward and further. Boom's out to get the BKB off. The Cataclysm comes out. There's no setup as Celery dies underneath the tower. He does have a buyback available. Thompson looks for the rolling onto Boom. But Boom will be able to juke it out the side set. Dropping the RP, but the Eon Disc Shad removes the stun immediately. He's got the damage control over Samel. Samel, he's going to have to buy back. But Saxon's down. No buyback on him. Thompson, BKB committed as he tries to stay on top of it. And Celery, but Shad, it's another triple kill. It's over to Seb. It's another ultra kill. It's Thompson, the last man left alive. He'll turn into a stone, he'll turn into a statue. Maybe they don't see me if I'm not there, but they do. They see him. The Hexen and rampage for Shad. As Viking, they'll wipe OG, and they will defend the base, even keeping the melee racks alive on the top lane.
Chad, the two-man call on the back line. He got the Magnus and the Lena as Sumail was super far into the base. They got split up again. The Cataclysm connects, and then they're all split. OG getting a bit too overzealous, it feels like, with their aggression, and they get turned on by Viking for like the third or fourth time this game.
Absolutely big hold there from Viking. Doing it for what must have felt like the longest of time for them as well, with just the 3 versus the full 5-man of OG. But they pull it off. They hold back OG. And now they're ready to run down men here with the full squad.
They know there's no RP either for 30 seconds or so. The Aeon Disc, as you mentioned, it procced as soon as that RP went off. Similar cooldown, so they should know. Buyback is forced up. And Roche is back up, so it doesn't look like that's what Viking wants to scout out next. Take out the outpost first.
And be careful, playing it smart here, Viking. They know that they've now managed to shift the lead into their favor, but not wanting to make the same sort of display that OG has here. Viking. Eyeing up mid lane.
Notel is quite far away from his teams. He's pinging himself. He's like, guys, I'm not there. So yeah, be with him. I'm coming.
Upson rolling in.
Goes deep.
Gonna make it away and chancing himself.
Dying.
I mean, they're going for this Roche pretty much with the full lineup of OG alive. Viking feel that strong about their ability to take objectives out to the side of the the core Aramis. They're on with the jump. Aramis, he's out. That's them hitting the decks. Aramis gone for 90 seconds, but the time is caught there for Viking to finish off the Roshan. And now they'll look to try and get themselves out of it. Thompson in with the chase over towards Celery, but they'll turn. Boom with the 2-man tornado. The RP from Seb comes down on the Boom, but Boom again getting the BKB off in time. Thompson rolls over and wants to have the damage to take down the AA. The AA is gone. pushing about with the death blast. He's up the high ground. Cataclysm coming down as OG's starting to get split. They look towards Shad, but Shad blinks out just in time. Thompson still trying to chase in onto the axe. Shad has got enough movement speed to cover the boost crowd, but he get out of there. He has it. Thompson in with another roll. They'll catch the axe. They'll bring down Chad the once. Get the Aegis ready for round 2. No BKB. Eon Disc up in a second. Shad got any way out of this. The Hex comes out. Shad trying to run, but there's no help coming in for him. Shad will be left to die alone.
Base is starting to get sieged. Good fight though from OG. They get the supports right at the start, and they can actually keep Notel alive for one. They get the jump on him with the Hex, but his Aeon Disc keeping himself alive. He gets the fight around. And OG, I think they lost a full AC on the courier during this fight from Thompson, but either way, able to get the fight back. Getting rid of Aramis seems to be pretty important at the start of the fight. Even though it looked like he kind of caught the rolling boulder for his team, he dies right at the start of the fight, and it seems very difficult for Viking to fight without him. They will get their gem at least.
I mean, and I guess Shad maybe feeling the inevitability of OG trying to force something whilst we are dead, coming out with a sort of an unprovoked buyback there, which could leave him in quite a risky position. I guess was just really scared of something coming in, wanted to use the buyback sooner than later. But might have got away with holding off on that.
Yeah, I guess he just wanted to be able to buy back, use mana to cut waves, right, with the shard and stuff like that.
That's true.
It could end up hurting him. Defense is gold. He's got his overwhelming blink now too.
Definitely going for the riskier move, but as you say, maybe a necessary one. Just making sure that the backdoor protection does not get close there to be taken out with any of the lanes approaching the base. Kezu. Gonna jump in. There's a Hex on Kezu. Kezu. He needs help, but he needs it now. Shout in for the call. He's able to get the call on the boat. Thompson and Samao said he's looking to get him with the RP, but the Hex comes out. Kezu's out. Buyback immediately from the Spider. Aramis in with the hook shot on Samao, but Samao's in with the BKB, starting to back off the Cataclysm. It goes crash down to Seb. Seb caught between the two sun structures. Seb's gone. Shad, another great call. Catches Samao, even catches Thompson here on the attempted rollout. Thompson still able to break away with the further rolling thunder. Shad rolling him down. Thompson goes for the TP. Is there anything to cancel it? There isn't. Thompson makes it out in time, but it's 3 dead on OG. Samao and Seb, no 5 available. Both of their buybacks on cooldown for at least 3 minutes. A huge window now where Viking, they may just be able to take something big here away from OG.
Looks scary for a second for Kezu. He dies, but it ends up being well worth it. They get the comeback. Seb gets caught by the Cataclysm again. It's Thompson.
Chad, he's in with a fake back. Jumps back in straight away on the Saxon. Thompson falls. Comes out, Saxon Hotel trying to keep his leaner alive. Enchant Remnant and a self kick off to the side. Thompson, he's moving to get back up on the height for the Hex. He's closing the gap. Another cool shot will grab it, but they get the thunder was in time. He's able to fall away with the rolling boulder. As Thompson will live, but now 3 dead. No buybacks for OG. As Viking, they're looking at ready. They're ready to close it up, or at least try to. Thompson and Hotel have got to pull up something insane here to hold back the 4-5 mana Viking. I don't know if they can do it though. Hex out onto Notel. Viking running down the Oracle. Notel's out of the game. Thompson, the last man left alive, but not for long. As Viking get the team wipe. GG is called. As Viking will take this game 1-4.
Dyer's middle tower has fallen.
What a good game. I feel like OG, a couple overextensions really hurt them. Because it did feel like it was anybody's game, just the back and forth fights. But OG with like 2 or 3 overextensions perhaps, and